Welcome to the Woman of Worth podcast season 3 finale. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to me this past year. It's been an honor and a pleasure to sit and to pour into you what God has so graciously poured into me. I thank God for every insight. I thank God that the podcast is growing. I thank God for choosing me and using me and giving me this opportunity. So many times when you're a minister, you believe that you're supposed to be in the pulpit. And some years ago, God pulled me out and said that he had more for me and that the pulpit would be training ground, but the real ministry would take place in a different way and on a different platform. And I fought this podcast for a while because I just did not think that I would be able to sit and talk and that there would be so much to say. But as long as God is always talking, there's always going to be something to say. And as long as I keep him first, and as long as I bow to him and I allow him to do what he wants to do through this podcast and through me, then there'll never be a running out because God is always speaking. There's never been a time where God was well, there was a time when God was silent. And I was between the Old Testament and the New Testament, I think for 400 years, God didn't speak. Um, and we don't want that to happen again. So it's just about being obedient to the call of God on your life. I had my own vision for how this podcast to go, but God said, "You didn't call yourself to this. I called you to it, so it's either going to go the way I want it to go, or you can try to do it on your own, but you will run out. But if you allow me to do it, then I'll never run out. It'll never run dry until your season is over, because we all know that everything doesn't last forever. Some things last for a season. Season, lifetime, a reason. And that's basically how everything in your life will work. So whether this be a lifetime thing for me or a season thing for me, I really enjoy it. You know, God has always given me the gift of gab. So this mouth is always going to be running, just like a car with gas. If it got gas in it, it's running. But nevertheless, it's been a wonderful season. I really enjoy talking with you. I'm looking forward to next season. I'm looking forward to the changes. I'm looking forward to you guys being actually able to see me. Um, Waiting on God to give me the green light to start having interviews, because I feel like sometimes it does get a little boring just listening to one person talk, and sometimes conversations are better, but I'm still going to have to be obedient to God when it comes to that. Whether it's once a month I have an interview, or once a quarter, whatever it is, I'm just going to be obedient to what God is calling me to do. So for the next few months, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. I'll be back in the middle of the summer in July. If things change, I'll be back early and I'll let you know. But for the most part, we'll be back to July 1st. Woman of Worth, you'll see some changes. You'll see some new things. Like I said, I'm transitioning, I'm changing, I'm moving around. So it just requires my full attention and devotion and quiet time so that I can hear from God and make sure I'm doing exactly what he tells me to do, but that I'm not rushing anything. I don't want anything premature. And you shouldn't want anything premature either. Remember, it takes a lot more work to take care of a premature baby than if you wait for that baby to be birthed full term. Have to get the weight up, have to do different things if the baby's premature. So in this season, 2024, the rest of 2024, let's do things on God's schedule, on his time. You won't hear from me. Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy New Year. I'll see you all next year. God bless. Keep him first. Embrace your suffering. Remember that you are a woman of worth. Remember that you have value. Remember that you are worthy, and that there was no good thing that God will withhold for you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. God knows the plans that he has towards you. He is your shepherd. Let him lead you on the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, don't fear any evil. He's with you. His rod and his staff will come you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. And blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, and his delight is in the law of the Lord. But if you keep God first, he'll give you the desires of your heart, and he'll fulfill every good thing that he has for you. Remember that all things work together for your good, but in all things to keep your mind stayed and focused on him. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are a good report, keep that on your mind. Keep this mind in Christ. Keep your mind on him, because he will keep you in perfect peace. All right, woman of worth, if nothing else, if you don't hear nothing else that I've said this entire season or the entire 3 seasons that I've been on, remember this. Stay in your word. Keep talking to God. Keep praying. Don't ever, 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 ever stop. Don't ever disbelieve in the purpose. Don't ever stop believing in God. And when you look at yourself, know that you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. Remember that you are chosen, a royal priesthood, set apart. And God called you for a reason. He called you at such a time as this. Get out and do what God called you to do. God bless you, woman of worth. Have a great year.